Welcome back to Jenny's World, keeping it fresh, keeping it real and keeping it middle-aged. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and also visit my website, detailed down below the description box. Now, obviously Love Island was delayed for a couple of days, and that was because of the death of Caroline Flack, who used to be the presenter for that. Now, there was obviously a clearly lovely introduction talking about her death and how she'd be remembered. And I'm going to pick up in a separate video everything that was surrounding her there from what was reported in the media, because I think it's really important that we talk about that. So please come back and watch that video. So going back to the lovely couples on Love Island, obviously Luke and Shanice are still fresh from their boyfriend and girlfriend romance and new stage of their relationship, and it's so sweet seeing them together. Shanice is just completely overwhelmed and happy, and Luke T is equally the same. So then we go on to see other couples, and we look at Jamie and Natalia, and they're talking. And I don't know if it's anybody else, but it just seems as though she's just repeating what he says. They talk about their first kiss, and she says, "Go on then." And it's like, I don't know, it's just so fake for them. And obviously they kiss, and everybody else is cheering, but Natalia is not in the game. She is not anywhere into Jamie. I'm not sure that he is. I think for them, it's really about being in that couple and being in the villa. That's all they're there for, and I think that's really starting to show through. So I think they're going to be in trouble when we get to the voting stages. Now we have then just conversations going on with the boys. I'm not even going to touch on that subject. And then we see Finn acting like a real girl when he sees, was it a cockroach, a beetle, whatever, but he was out of there. And then obviously there's a bit of Mickey taking from the boys about that. So I'm going to kind of like just talk about how Jess herself's talking about Natalia, and even she thinks she's a bit fake, not convinced it's genuine. And there's lots of talk among those couples, Luke T, Demi, etc. And none of them are sure, but I think they're just being polite, as there's no chemistry between her and Jamie. The way she talks, she's not into him, he's not really into her, I don't think. I think he would if there was given an opportunity. But as I said before, I think she's there purely to be in the villa and to be on this programme, and is doing whatever it takes to stay there. And I think Jamie's just going along for the ride. I think, personally speaking, that he was brought in to, I think, to make a couple stories. The dog is just trying to get some attention and trying to focus on not him knocking over things. But going back to Jamie, I think he was brought in, really in there, just to partner with Shauna. But obviously that didn't work, and then he had to go for somebody. So he ended up with Natalia, who was obviously the other single person there. And I don't think they're adding much value to the villa. People like them, but are they just being polite? Time will tell. Anyway, let's move on to the challenge that was, and talk about the different states of couples, from being the most vain, the most laziest, and all sorts of things. And then I think we really just need to get to the bit where, sorry, the dog is wanting come on, sit, oh, now he's screaming, where we have Mike and Priscilla. Now I thought they'd been getting on really well. Now Mike and Priscilla was obviously hosting that challenge, and it seemed to be going well. But then, I don't know, Mike just seems to have a habit of just saying something wrong, doing something wrong, and then, oops, the dog's gone. And then he did. Oh no, he's back again. And then he was talking with Priscilla, and then he patted her head, and it's just like, what was that about? And you could see the reaction with everybody else as well. They're just completely gobsmacked. And Priscilla, being the great woman that she was, she kind of like didn't react. You could see that it got to her. Things carried on, and then that kind of like ended, and everybody was just talking about it. And Mike himself acknowledged, I'm going to be in trouble. But I don't think he really understood why. And then you saw Priscilla talking with Jess. And Jess was, I think, being really nice and really genuine, just saying, you got to call it out, you've got to have it out in the open. And you just got to tell him what that meant and how you felt. And Priscilla was, I think, really calm, but she was angry and she was upset. Because you don't want that. I don't think, as she said, it wasn't about the joke. She was fine with that. But it's the way he patted her head, condescending and quite humiliating. And I think I agree, they're supposed to be a couple. You don't do those kind of things. And I think one of the things, I think Priscilla really nailed it when she said, when she was talking to Mike about this, well, talking before that, he is already the main feature. Mike, I think, always has to be the clown, always has to be the centre of attention, always has to have the focus on him. And it wasn't really necessary to do anything like that. So it was just really bizarre as to why he didn't. And I think he kind of like fell down in people's thoughts of how they felt about him and thinking. And for others, I think it really cemented their kind of like thinking towards when we get to that vote. Because if you do something like that, are you really genuinely a couple? And I think it just throws that question mark. So when Priscilla was talking to Mike about it, he apologised straight away. And as we said, he was talking to boys, he said, no, he didn't wrong, he was apologising. And but Priscilla said, do you know why I'm upset? And he had to stop and think, and he's like, no. And again, as she said, it's not about the joke, but it's about the pattern. It's about you humiliating me and making me feel and look stupid. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. And I think for her, that was a time when she really stood her ground, really made it clear that she was having none of it. And I think it was really good, not as a young lady, but also as a black lady, to say you can't do those things and get away with it and expect me just to be happy about it and accept an insincere apology, because you're apologising and not really knowing what impacted me, what made me feel really bad about it. And I think all credit to him, he listened, he apologised, and she was really firm, saying that can't happen again. And I think generally he meant it when he was apologising. I think he got it from what she was saying. And I think there's been a little bit of frostiness between them, but I think they come across as a really strong couple. A couple that I think can really make it, as long as Mike doesn't keep doing these silly things like this. So I think that was a true testament to Jess. I think Jess won that. I think Jess stood out for all those single or females, the black, whether you're black, white, whatever colour, but just strong independence, saying you can stand up to people when they don't treat you the right way, whether it's your friend, your brother, your mum, or your boyfriend. Just tell it how it is and get it out there. Don't let it fester. Just make it clear why you're upset and make sure they understand that it can't happen again. And I think that really sets the framework for their relationship, because he's now clear on boundaries, hopefully. And I don't think he'll ever make that mistake again, but hopefully he'll really start thinking before he speaks and thinking about what he's about to say, what impact that may have on the person he's talking to. But not just about that. I think he needs to think about his perception, because he is kind of like, he's a really nice guy and he seems really genuine, but then he has this side of him that comes out that he's a bit of a clown, that he kind of like shifts around a bit. And I think the bit of shifting is what people in the other couples in the villa are really like looking at and holding on, and those are the things they remember the most, not the nice sincere when he's there for people and really wants to help them out. So I think Mike just really needs to think about how he's perceived and the perception he wants to be given across, because from my perspective, he seems to be now a genuine guy and he seems to have really settled with Priscilla. So it would be a real shame to lose him from the villa. Anyway, that episode kind of like went on, and then they had the voting round, and each couple had to choose the two least compatible couples. Now this, I feel, was always going to be a bit of a tricky one, but I kind of like felt, and I was glad that Shanice and Luke T and Finn and Paige weren't ever in that conversation, because for me, how they feel about each other is clear for everybody to see. And I was really glad to see that other couples recognise that and even put them in the mix. Now, when you look at all the other couples that are left, it's really tricky as to who gets chosen. We all know, hands up, we all know that Jamie and Natalia, they're going to be top of everybody's list, and they were. But I think that second couple is really difficult. I think you have Luke and Demi, who seem really kind of like together, getting to know each other, and seem to be a nice couple. Jess and Ched, I would say I wasn't impressed by Ched. He kind of like seemed a bit of a, all kind of like big boy, and no real kind of like brains behind it, no thinking behind that. But he's really beginning to slightly mellow me. He's come across a lot nicer, and him and Jess actually are starting to look like a good couple. So you kind of like have that question mark there. Now for me, Mike and Priscilla, they come across as a really strong couple. But as I said previously, they're little things that Mike does, I think, just sets others thinking about him and Priscilla. And I think if Priscilla was with somebody else, she'd be fine. But I think Mike just throws that question mark out there. You then have Molly and Callum. Now, I kind of like think they look really nice together, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like unsure, and I think others are unsure. So again, you've got these couples who are all in the mix for being dumped from the island. We then have, who else do we have? And I feel as I've forgotten somebody really important. So up for the nomination eviction, we've got Jamie and Natalia. We also have Demi and Luke. We have Mike and Priscilla, and we have Callum and Molly, and then we have Jess and Ched. They all received nominations. I wasn't surprised by Mike and Priscilla being nominated, but I was kind of like a little bit gutted. But it's like, who else would they choose? I feel as though there's some tactics going on. The conversation between Natalia and Jamie, I kind of thought that was really fake. I mean, they chose Luke and Demi because from Natalia's point of view, well, they were in there before, they didn't connect. So, and now they're together and they try and make it out, but if they were so together, why didn't happen in the first place? And I kind of like see a perspective, but I kind of think you've got to look past that. You've got to see where they are now. But ultimately, this is a competition and you've got to vote somebody. And I don't think no matter who people chose, nobody was going to be happy about it. So when people were saying who they'd chosen, I think one of the things was really clear and would always be clear. It was that Luke T and Shanice were never going to choose Luke M and Demi. Mainly because Luke T is great pals with Luke M. So that was never going to happen. And I think that people kind of like accepted that. And I don't think anybody, all of those couples who were left to be dumped, I don't think anybody felt nice about doing it. I think there's relief from Shanice and Luke T and Paige and Finn not to be in there. But I think ultimately somebody had to be chosen, and I think there's question marks around everybody there. So we ended that kind of like episode and we moved on. And I think when we came into the next one, it was really about the talk of that, how people had chosen, were they tactical? Comments about Luke T, and it's like, well, you know that's no question. Mike was a bit upset about the reason he gave, and Luke T and Shanice came over, apologised, said it was nothing personal, and Mike questioned Luke T about why he chose him. And I think I kind of like, it's hard because you're in a competition, you've got to choose somebody, but I think Mike was going a bit far about the reasons behind it, and Luke T tried to explain, which she kind of understood, but I think it doesn't really matter. You've been chosen, just get on with it. You just got to kind of like think about why you're in that bottom 5 and what you can do to kind of like change that. Natalia, she's just a strange one, needs to get out of there. And she kind of like sums it up, she's not going to find a boyfriend. She's talking to James first, she's not going to find a boyfriend, and she's ready to go home. And I'm just like, you're supposed to be in a couple. I'm not quite sure you're supposed to be saying that. But Jamie says nothing, he just kind of like agrees with it. So again, it comes back to that. They're a couple just in the name of couple, nothing else. And they're going to go home. If they don't, there's something wrong with everybody voting. But again, I felt that it kind of like highlighted what Natalia is all about. Very fake, not really sincere or genuine with anybody. And she just, wants to get out and probably wants to take as many people down as she can. Now, that kind of went on. I think Mike and Priscilla were generally upset about being voted in the bottom 5, but they got on with it. And then we kind of like move on, and then you kind of like wake up in the next morning, hear those babies crying, and I found it so interesting that the boys were the first to get up and see what was going on. The girls were just like continuing to lay in bed and sleep. But it was interesting for that day with them having their babies per couple. And it was kind of like weird, not weird, but Molly was just not interested. Natalia wasn't really interested. Jess wasn't really interested. Shanice, I thought, went into it full guns blazing. Her and Luke again, great couple, great baby. They kind of like went with it, rolled with it. Luke M and Demi, again, they kind of like got into it. Demi not at first, but after she did. Finn and Paige, I kind of like feel as though they did really well, but I don't know if it's just me, but there's something about Finn. I struggle to believe he's only 20. I would really love to see his birth certificate. He seems much older than that. But some of the things he comes out with, they just come across as so sleazy. And I'll give you the example. Maybe the baby wants some breasts, and it's just kind of like, it's nothing with that. It's just how he says it and looks, and it's just kind of like this thing that runs down my spine when he says certain things. So I really wish he stops. But I'm gonna kind of like pass on from that. So they kind of like seem to be getting on well. Mike and Priscilla, I thought were great. Priscilla went into it all guns blazing, and she dragged Mike along until he got to the point where he was like a bit of a natural, I felt. As I said, Natalia wasn't really interested. Jane was doing all the hard work. Jess and Ched took to it naturally. Jess, I don't know, she really wasn't into it, did a little bit and then kind of like gave up. And then you saw the Luke M and Luke T when they're exercising. Looked kind of cute with the baby on Luke M's chest, and Luke T with the baby in the strap. And it's all kind of fun, and he's kind of like moved on a bit, and you saw Jamie and Natalia's pram run into the water, and she's like, didn't you put the brake on? Didn't know it had one. I don't know, I thought it was a really nice light-hearted exercise. Again, you can clearly see that some people were not ready to be parents, and you go like think, oh, when I'm older and like when they're 30, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like just think they're so young in there, and they've got not much, I think, now about life and just little things. And just kind of like thinking on one of the conversations they were having, Natalia, I think it was, I can't remember which other girl it was, but they were talking about babies, and Natalia said, oh yeah, I've got a younger sister. And then someone says, oh yeah, somebody gave birth in water, I'd love to give birth in water. And then Natalia comes out saying, no, you'd have all of that stuff around you. It's just like, yeah, I kind of like feel as though that conversation was a little bit like teenagers talking, with no real concept of childbirth, adulthood or anything. And these are in their early 20s, but anyway, everybody seemed to have fun, and it kind of like made the day go. Priscilla and Mike came out the top in that. I think it was quite clear. I don't know how Shanice and Luke T got in the bottom, but then I think Luke M did kind of like tip the baby out, so that probably went against them. Not really looking after your baby and letting it allow to fall on the floor does kind of tip the balance against you. So we kind of like finished with them, and I think a lot of them were relieved not to have that again. Deb moved on, a bit of fun, and then it came down to that voting piece, and it's like, right, who's going to go? And no surprises. First up were Natalia and Jamie. And again, as I said, no surprises. Glad to see her go, and him, because I kind of like don't think they added much value in the villa. I think people tolerated them as opposed to like them, so it's good to see them go. But then I was kind of like quite shocked to see that the two in the bottom, one of the two were Mike and Priscilla. Now, again, I kind of felt as though they're more bonded than Ched and Jess, but Ched and Jess, I think, are more touchy-feely, and I think that's what people are looking for, and then that's what they're seeing. And I wasn't surprised with Molly and Callum. So, and I would say I had my own kind of like predictions as I was watching that Molly and Callum would be in there, and I kind of figured Mike and Priscilla, but again, still guttering to see them in there. And I think we're at the point now, the rest of the couples are gonna have to vote one of them off, and I think this is gonna be a really hard vote, and I think it might be really close. I really hope that Callum and Molly get voted off. Not that I've got anything against them, but I feel as though it's almost since Sean has gone, they've not been as close, which is really weird. But they don't seem to have that kind of connection, and they don't seem to be as close as they're appearing. I think Callum completely head over heels. Not sure about Molly. Whereas I think Mike and Priscilla, I generally think there's something there. They may not be touchy-feely couples on the island, which I suppose is what it's partly all about. But I feel as though that they've got something that will last outside when they come back into the real world. And I'm not convinced that Molly and Callum have something that will last when they come back in the real world. So that's where we kind of like left at that episode. so. And you know, people are thinking, people are talking, and it's all buzzing. I'm like, oh gosh, what's going on? And we can't just wait. I can't wait until the next one so I can bring you up to speed. So I want to just have that pause, have that kind of like moment before I reveal who got to be dumped from the island. Is it my prediction, Callum and Molly go, or am I going to be gutted and sad and be saying that was Mike and Priscilla? And so my prediction was correct. Molly and Cam got voted off the island, and everybody was sad to see them go. But for me, I was really pleased. It meant that Mike and Priscilla got to stay a bit longer and to really demonstrate to everybody that they are a strong couple and they do have something together that will last. I really like the way that Mike thanks the boys for voting for him to stay and that he really appreciates the fact that they recognise that he and Priscilla do have something. And the same was being said with Priscilla to the girls, thanking them for having faith in her and supporting her. I love the way that Jess says, don't worry, you know we've got your back. That was just, I think, really nice. And for me, it really demonstrates just how the couples are really looking after each other and supporting each other and in a real genuine way. So I was really pleased at that. I want to just move us fast forward on to when we get to the dates. And first up were Mike and Priscilla. And they were up at early dawns, so excited, and that little dance where they did the feet clicking, that was just amazing. How they timed that, I don't know. Probably did a few practices to get it right, but it was great to see. And they got to go on safari. Now, what can you say is a date for that? Absolutely fantastic. And it looks as though there's no expenses spared for these dates. That was just truly amazing. And you can see that they both appreciated it. But they were just talking together about their journey together. While it hasn't been so long, they have kind of like evolved and gone through a lot. And it's really nice to see them both open up even more than they normally do, especially Priscilla. And when they were talking about what they see in the future, it was really nice to see the mention of being married, having children. And I think Mike just solidifying that bit with them being boyfriend and girlfriend. I just think that was really nice, romantic. And you can see that Priscilla really appreciated that. And so their date, I think, just went from strength to strength. They had a really nice time. Obviously, they come back and they talk. Mike talks to the boys about it. Priscilla talks to the girls about it. And everybody's just genuinely happy for them. And Shanice has a toast for them as a new couple, boyfriend and girlfriend. So I think, to me, that's really nice. And all of the couples are being really great and I think really working and being really supportive, which is really good to see. We next got to see Paige and Finn go on their date. Now, obviously, budgets can't remain so high when you have a safari, and they had a nice little rowboat, a nice little picnic together, and again, they were just reminiscing about the journey they've been on. And obviously, they've been together for quite a while, and they've had quite a few ups and downs, quite a few arguments, but they've always managed to get through that, and they always kind of like shine as a couple. So again, just listening to the two of them was really great to see. I struggle with the fact that Finn is 20. I think I'm going to get a petition going for him to show us his birth certificate because he just seems so much older than 20. But I just feel as though there's a really good chemistry together. They really do get it. And it was just fun just watching them skirt around the words that they're saying they're falling in love with each other, just saying anything but that. And that was just nice to see. Nice and genuine. They've got a real openness between them, a real connection. And I really feel that came out when they were talking about how they felt about each other and the journey they've been on. So again, they come back to the villa, go into their separate parties and talk about it. Everybody's super excited for them. Then Jess and Ched got to go on their date and all the girls helping Jess to get ready. Again, really nice. And they get a barbecue date. And again, obviously budgets are getting really low at this moment in time. But it was just really nice for them. I mean, I must admit, when Ched came to the villa, I thought he was kind of like really quite all brawn and no brain. And he didn't really say much, but he's really come out of his shell. And I think him and Jess are coming across as a really nice, genuine couple. And even me, I feel as though they could actually make it on the outside. So it's nice hearing them talk and laugh. But what I found interesting was neither of them mentioned a word about being a couple, but more about being exclusive to each other. I'm not sure if Jess was expecting that, but she seemed to go with the flow and seemed to be quite happy with that. Again, they go back to the villa. Ched talks to the boys and says they're just exclusive, not being boyfriend and girlfriend. And Jess says the same with the girls. and they all seem to be happy for each other. We then get on to the next date, and that is with Luke, and Demi. Now they have an early rise date, so up really early, and they have a really nice. It seems to be, if you get the first date, it seems as though you get a really good budget, because they had a symphony, and that just looked amazing. And the whole scenery right by the water, it would just look such a fantastic backdrop with the music playing in the background. And then they were talking about how they felt about each other, their journey. And it was nice to hear Demi talk about her relationship with Naz, and as much as she felt it was really good, that she can now see they weren't really compatible, whereas her and Luke really get on and they're so alike. And I feel as though they are. I kind of have my doubts about them, as Luke doesn't always seem to be into her, and she seems to be really, really into him. But when they were talking, Luke was really expressing how well suited he feels they are, and how he just wants them two to be together, not to see each other. And again, no word of boyfriend and girlfriend, but when you're talking about come around to my bungalow, meeting the family, you kind of like feel as though you've taken that step, that next step. And then they're talking about life outside of the villa. And again, it was really nice and refreshing. I mean, Luke's very much about, yeah, I don't want to take it. I want us to take baby steps and let's see how it goes and it all develop. So again, this is a couple that I think us as a public like. I have my doubts, but everything they were saying then really seemed to demonstrate that they are and want to be a couple on the outside. And I think it was really nice, that dance at the end. Again, they look amazing together, look really great, and I really hope that they can last on the outside. They definitely seemed to be a lot more at ease. Luke definitely seemed to be telling her more about how he feels, and she felt a bit more comfortable with that. So again, they come back to the villa, they go into their separate areas and say how it is, and Demi's just really excited and the girl's really pleased for her. So that's all really good, and it's just really nice. And then we have Shanice and Luke T and their date. Now that was just truly amazing. Again, big up to the producer for having that very castle out there. It looked absolutely amazing. And Shanice, she's just so excited. I mean, she's excited of finally going on a date with Luke T. She's excited while she's getting ready. The girls all helping her out and getting dressed, and she looked fantastic. She looked really pretty, and I thought it was really nice the way that Luke T says you look like a princess. He's just being so romantic towards, just saying all the right things, and she's just loving it, and it's clearly getting to her. She's so genuinely happy. It's just great to see. And then when they come to the castle, it's just like words just cannot, I think, say what she's thinking and feeling. And then they sit down, and then they're really talking about how they have felt the journey they've been on. And it's really nice to see Shanice say that when she first set eyes on him, she knew. Um, and she can't explain it. And Luke's going, go on, explain it, explain it. That's just so funny. And she goes, how do you explain something you've never felt before? And it was just really nice. That was just, for me, really genuine, and just really demonstrates just how much she cares for him. And I think everything they were saying to each other, I mean, I think Luke T, oh my goodness, he was more than romantic. He was just saying all of the right things, just looking at her makes him happy, feels comfort at home, safe, ease with her. And they're talking about, what do you see yourselves or us in 5 years' time? And she's saying married with 4 kids. And it's like, yeah, you got to remember straight away, 9 months the next, the 9 months the next, no break. And she's just loving that. And for her to say, but it'd be worth it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is just such a lovely couple. They're just so amazing. And then Luke just kind of like going more into his feelings, how he's never felt like this before, bad at expressing his feelings. And that with her, it just all comes. And Shanice is always crying. And even Luke says, you're always crying. And she goes, you make me cry, but they're happy tears. And the moment that Luke says that he loves her, she's just stuck. And I feel as though it was just so nice. And Shanice reciprocally actually saying, yes, I love you as well. And just going on how she's feeling. And the two of them, it's just amazing. I just think as though this couple, if they do not win this, I'm going to be gobsmacked, because I just can't see anybody else touching what they have, and how they go about demonstrating and articulating their words, which are doing better than I am trying to get it out. But I just really feel as though their day was I think was the pinnacle. You just can't really touch anything. All of the dates kind of like paled into significance. And for me, just the whole environment, it really spoke to Shanice and her kind of character and how Luke was with her. Everything he was saying to her was just kind of like spot on. You just can't write those things. You can't script those things. You can't get that real genuine emotion and feeling out. And for me, that really emphasised how well suited they are together. And as I said, I think if they don't win it, I'm going to be really gobsmacked. But they had a great time, and it was really nice. And going back to the villa and talking separately, and the boy saying to Luke, "Well, how did it go?" And he goes, "Well, I said it." He goes, "Ah, you said the love word," and they all just laughing and joking, but really happy for him and Shanice. And then Shanice with the girls, and she recanting their story, and even her saying it, and she's crying, and again, all the girls when she says they love each other, and just how they're reacting is just lovely, absolutely lovely. And as I said, I don't think you can really top that, and it was amazing sight to see. As I said, I think they're an amazing couple. I think all of the couples there were great, and are great. And I think when we get down to the wire, it's going to be a tough one. Now, I did feel as though, even among the romance that was going on, I did feel as though that episode was kind of like tame, a bit quiet, not really much going on. They did have a challenge out there for the boys, an undercover job for them to do, and I think they did it really well. I mean, Mike, they keep saying he's a player. He got those kisses in there with ease. I don't think the girls suspected anything at all. What made me laugh was Luke M getting paid to fetch and carry for him. That was just amazing. And she slightly got her own back with putting salt in the tea, which was quite funny. But I think all in all, it was a really good. It was a nice kind of normal. I felt kind of like a normal challenge as opposed to the other challenges that they've had. And obviously, what I thought was quite funny when they're discussing who's doing what was when the last bit they had to get all the girls into the pool, and they all just looked at each other and said, "That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen." And Luke made me laugh. Luke M made me laugh when he said, "I don't like getting the hair wet." I was just like, "Does any girl like getting her hair wet?" And I think the answer is no. But it was just quite funny, just how he kind of like came out with that. And I think the challenge all round, it went down really well. Some of the girls were saying, "Oh, I suspected something was up." Did they? Hey, who knows? But I thought it was fun and a nice kind of way to kind of like round things up. I think the excitement, the kind of like thrill and danger appears to have gone from the show for the moment because everybody's just so happy, so nice to each other. So what happens then? What kind of like comes out? And the only thing that brings up that kind of dread, that fear, is when we hear the word voting. And obviously, before we got to that part, we had the dance competition, the Love Island finale dancing, whatever you want to call it. And it was quite funny. Mike on the drums, he was all right. Didn't think it was that great. Everybody seemed to love him. We then had Priscilla and her dance. So I was quite impressed with that. In my head, I'm thinking, MC Hammer, you can't touch that. That came out not so great. But I thought she was amazing. Everybody else did. And even Mike saying, "Wow, where did that come from?" Again, I feel as though she's full of surprises. Just when you think you've got Priscilla now, she does something that kind of like shocks you to make you think, "Wow, what else is under that belt? What else has she got to go?" But that was really good. Jez and Ched, I thought it was really great workout, funny, nice. But at the end of the day, that had to be their one. That's what Ched's all about, all the muscle. But it was nice and funny. You had Luke M on the guitar, you had Demi as the doctor, but I was impressed with Shanice and Luke T. Oh my goodness. Not only dressing alike, but the coordination, the syncing with their dancing was amazing. Again, I just feel as though they just ooze romance. They just ooze love. And the way they synced up together when they were dancing was just absolutely amazing. And again, I'm thinking they are just so natural. How they did not win that competition, I do not know. I kind of like feel as though they should have won. Jess and Ched, yeah, but they were amazing. But anyway, again at the end, I feel as though it was a nice way to end the night. And for us, the public, we get to now have to vote one couple off. Now, I have no idea where this is going to go because I feel as though I could easily say who I think is going to be remaining, and I think that's definitely going to be Shanice and Luke T. That's definitely going to be Paige and Finn. I like to think that it's going to be Priscilla and Mike. I like to think that we've got those in the top three. But then you have Jess and Ched and Demi and Luke M. Now, I think that Demi and Luke M have the public behind them. They have the public wanting them to be a couple and be in that final. But actually, I also think that Jess and Ched, I think they're going to be the secret ones. I personally think it's going to be really tough to see who gets voted out. Me personally, I'm going to be voting for Shanice and Luke T, my favourite couple. And I'm sure it's going to be a hard fought battle. And I think whoever has to go, everybody will be genuinely shocked, and not shocked, but we're genuinely sorry to see them go, as will I. But we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. And I will come back and end the suspense of who ended up getting voted off. So let's wait and see. We've not got much long to go, and I'm gonna tell you what happened. Obviously, you've all seen this, but if anybody hasn't, it'd be a bit of a spoiler alert. So, will my prediction come true? Would it be down between Jess and Ched and Luke and Demi as the two who are get the most votes, and one of those couples get to go? Well, we don't have long to wait and see for that happen, do we? And so we're down to that penultimate episode. Who gets to go? Who has been voted off the island? We've not got much longer to wait and see for that to happen. But before we get that, before I do that spoiler, let's go and talk about the families. Yes, the families are in town. All of the couples have their family or friends coming to visit them. And first up, we have Shanice and Luke T. Now, Shanice got a text on her phone, and at first I thought, oh my God, what's happened? She just looked absolutely horrified, mystified. Even Demi was like scared and worried what's going on. And then she looked at her phone and realised what's happening. And then Shanice called Luke over. All the other couples are watching her, wondering what's going on. And then Demi says, the families. And Luke's going, what families are here? They're at the door. And off they ran to kind of like go and welcome them. And then you saw Luke T's parents and Shanice's sisters. Now, Shanice just ran straight into their arms and just was in a flood of tears. Luke was just hugging his parents, just so pleased to see them. And it looked truly amazing. And you kind of do forget while you're just watching this that they have been for 4 or 5 weeks out there with no contact from family or friends, just not knowing what's going on. So it makes it kind of cool real when they get so emotional at seeing their families. So Shanice took her sisters off and Luke took his mum and dad over for a chat, and they were just recounting how proud they were, how pleased, and how what he'd been doing, and that his sister was proud, and really nice touches. His dad even said, look, your granddad's watching and they're really proud of you. And he's like, what, granddad? Just kind of like shocked. He goes, yeah, of course, the whole family's watching. And then Luke's mum made me laugh when she said the breakfast. So tell us about the breakfast. And then she started laughing. And then she said, I don't want to know. And her dad and Luke was just like laughing. And then Luke tells them how he said the L word to Shanice. And they genuinely look really happy, really pleased. And his mum's just saying, we're so lucky. And they're just generally just being great together as a family. And then they go over and join the girls. But before that, Shanice is holding her sister's faces as she's hugging them. And she's nearly in tears. And it's just so lovely. They clearly get on really well and are clearly close. And then she asks them what they think of Luke. And obviously they say he's great. And then she tells them that she's told him that she loves him. And he said the same to her. And they're all just laughing, thinking that she's got a great catch. Really great person. And then she calls over the family. They all come over and talking. And Luke's mum says, I'm glad it's you. Out of all the girls, they're all lovely, but I'm so pleased he got you. And then they just recount, the mum and dad, how they've been together for 27 years. And she goes, we've had ups and downs, but you get through it, and it's how you manage it. And her dad's saying what a fiery character she is. And they just give the seal of approval both ways. And it's great, and it's just amazing to see. And then everybody comes and gives them a final goodbye hug. But what's really interesting for me, and I really want to know, is Luke M. It's like, he gives the mum and dad a hug, and it's like they've known him forever. So I really want to know. And if anybody knows the answer out there, did Luke M and Luke T know each other before they got to the villa? Because they have such a strong relationship, such a strong bond. I just struggle to believe it just happened since they met. So if anybody has got the answer to that, please send me a comment. Please reply and tell me. Anyway, we then move on, and next up are Demi and Luke M. And again, it's all emotions. Luke's parents are there, and Demi's mum and her best friend. And they're all just recounting how well they're doing, how they're missed, and how pleased they are, and what a great couple they make. We then have Priscilla and her mum and brother, and Mike and his brothers. I mean, Mike was just in tears. He just like jumped onto his brother and was just like crying. And they're off on one side and he's still crying. And the brothers tell him how proud their mum is of him and how great a girl that Priscilla is. And in between there, they're just telling what food his mum's going to prepare for him when he's out. And Mike is just looking forward to that. You could tell it in his smile, wanting to have some real home-cooked food. Now, over the other side, you've got Priscilla talking to her brother and her mum, and then same kind of like story. The brother saying what a great guy Mike is, really genuine, and again giving the seal of approval. Then they all come over and have a chat, and Priscilla's mum sets the ground rules down for Mike. If it goes further, you know, we have a culture and there's rules and traditions, you've got to follow them. And Mike's like, whatever it takes, she's worth it. And again, that is just so nice. And for me, it really cements their relationship, and having their families there to witness that and just to really see how well they got on. I thought that was really nice. We then have, who came next? We then have Finn and Paige and their parents. And what just cracked me up is like both dads referencing the breakfast bar. So we go over to the breakfast. So we go over to the bar to talk about breakfast. And Finn is just looking, I think, suitably embarrassed. And his dad says, I've learnt more about you in 5 weeks than I have in 20 years. I kind of like feel as though that vindicates that he's 20 years old. Still don't see it, but again, it's amazing. The foot fetish comes up, to which Finn suitably cringes when he hears that, and he knows he's never going to live that down. But again, even Finn's emotional crying, and again, it's kind of like good to see Paige and her parents equally the same, and they all say how well suited they are. They all get together, have a group hug, and you know, just looking nice. We then have we have the final one, which was Jess and Ched. Now Ched, he surprised me. He ran straight over to his parents, giving them big hugs and all of that, and it was just amazing. Jess was in tears when her parents were there, and I felt kind of like really sorry, because she's like, I'm not sure knowing who was going to come and see her and wondering about all day. I thought, oh wow, she must have been really concerned about that. And then even a bigger surprise, her sister Eve comes, and I think that was just nice. We knew they were close when they came into the villa and then Eve left, but just to see them again was just amazing. And they talk about Ched and her and how well suited they are. And Eve says, which made me laugh, he's even bigger in person than he's on screen. And again, it's all hugs all around, and everybody's just pleased and happy, I think, just to see their loved ones, and sad to see them go. But I think it was a really nice touch. I mean, obviously this is the first time I've watched any of the Love Islands, so if it happens all the time, I'm really pleased. I think it makes a nice note, and for me it helps bring those couples even that little bit closer together. And for me also, Demi summed it up when she said to the two Lukes, your bromance just got stronger. And then Luke M says, yeah, he's never met anybody like Luke. And Luke T goes, yeah, I have. And then, they just laugh it all out. But they are truly great friends. I can never see that ever changing, which I think is really good. And then Priscilla gives the bad news that it's time to go down to that famous fire pit to find out who's going to go. Now, obviously, everybody's been voting, and we all have our favourite couples. And I think for me, I kind of know that Shanice and Luke T will be fine, but I also wanted Mike and Priscilla to be there. But I think seeing any of the couples go would have been sad. So when it was all the countdown and people going, I must admit I was really shocked and surprised that Jess and Ched actually were saved, and it was Mike and Priscilla who actually got to go. I just don't know how that happened. I just kind of like feel as though all the early bits with Mike were kind of like turned against him and used, and despite how much he is truly into Priscilla, that really didn't kind of like come through. And considering that Mike and Priscilla were officially boyfriend and girlfriend, and Jess and Ched are just exclusive, I found it a bit not nice that that Jess and Ched got to stay and they got to go. But ultimately, it was always going to be a couple. Nobody was ever going to be happy at which couple it was that was left. So I'm just going to have to suck it up and just kind of like be thankful that Shanice and Luke T are still in the running. I thought it was really nice, just Mike kind of like farewell speech to the guys, and just how much of a family and friends they've kind of like have made while they've been there. But he's happy, he's got his girl, he came in for what he got for him. Priscilla as well, she was saying, I wasn't sure that I'd get anybody, but I've got my man, so I don't really care. And I think that sums it up. I mean, they got what they came for. They found love, maybe not the words they're saying, but they found each other. And I'm hopeful that that will remain strong once they leave the island. And I'm sure we're soon going to find out, because we've only got another day or so before the finale hits us, and then they're all going to be let loose after that. So I'm going to end it here, and I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and go see my website. Lots of great facts and information on there, and also jewelry for you to look at. So please send any comments as well. Yeah, and just subscribe. Those are the kind of key things. So keeping it fresh, keeping it real, and definitely keeping it middle-aged.